Oh, is this your retreat list? You put your retreat link up. Okay, good to know. Anybody's interested in the nature culture retreat for poets in Quebec? Visiting, oh no, Montreal.
Yep.
Link,
And
the link is in the chat.
I think she's also planning a writing tour of Ireland upcoming too. So
Love that.
this is this is a font of information about opportunities. So
Wonderful. Patty Ross has posted ecpoetryandprose.org. Um, so we're getting lots of shout outs from all over the world here. Let me see. Let me check the. I'm looking at that. I don't see anybody in the wait.
right.
I'm going to text the other two poets.
Okay. Mhm. Trust me, I think we have a wonderful lineup of poetry and poets for everyone. So again, really appreciate your folks um,
Uh,
participating, attending, and
Just one
hanging out
more.
with us this afternoon.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, Paul.
Mhm.
Is that Sarah Sutro by chance?
Yes, hi.
Won- Wonderful. It's good to see you, Sarah.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sure. Well, thank you for being here. It's great to see you. Nancy, I'm going to let you decide when you think it would be okay for us to get rocking and
I
rolling.
think because the schedule that we gave the poet said 3:15, they should be rolling in. I don't think we should start before then.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
But at then we can.
Okay.
Let me.
So if you can hang on, if you need to get a glass of water or anything like that, we're anticipating that the event will take probably about between 60 and 90 minutes, something like that, hour and a half. So if you need to get provisioned, this is the time to do it as we get ready to rock and roll. I'm not sure if Elizabeth is Liz Stanley, but if it is, welcome, Liz Stanley.
Who else do we need from? Um,
And if I'm going to put a note here towards the end of this session, if somebody, Nancy or somebody could remind me, I'll try to save the chat as well because it looks like there's a lot of good info being posted to the chat. So I'm going to try to remember to do that. Just for the sake of those who might be tuning into the playback, the recording of this session, we'll get started in just a couple of minutes here. So just
Hiram,
hang
we've
in there.
gotten a message from Warwick. Do you,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I know where.
he's hitting buffers for the
Okay,
donations from US and Canada. He's asking
okay.
about an international contribution line or some other way that he could join in. Do you have an
Okay.
answer for that
I
one?
don't. He's trying to make a donation.
I think he said join in.
Oh, well, he
Wasn't
shouldn't have
able
any.
to, I made a mistake in converting to GMT and I'm afraid I missed the boat. My contribution to the pot also seems to have hit the buffers. It only
Hmm,
accepts donations from US and Canada.
okay. I can't
Where's
answer the. can't answer the question about donations right yet, but he should be able to join the Zoom if he wants.
He says the buffers are,
Okay.
um,
All right, you might tell him that we will be recording and we'll share the recording link with him afterwards. Warwick is a wonderful musician who cooperates with poets, setting their poems to music. He's from Britain. Welcome, Jennifer. See, you just came in.
hey, Jen. Did Jen come
Hi.
in?
Yeah,
Hey,
Jen-
good to
Jen
see you.
Bover.
Jennifer, good to see you. For Barbara's in, I'm looking for, I'm trying to see who else here.
Maybe Donna Anderson is still.
I can't see the whole list, it looks like I'm
If you go,
limited.
if you hit participants and then scroll down, you should be able to see everyone.
There we go. Okay. Donna's not here yet. Let me send her a message too.
Maggie, are you all having high winds yet your way? It hasn't been too bad down here in DC, but we've got some winds and rain.
Yeah, some wind, a lot of rain, but it's so far so good.
Good. We on the East Coast, particularly Mid-Atlantic and New England, up north on the East Coast, are experiencing a little wonky weather today. So
Supposedly a nor'easter,
a
but
nor'easter, right?
yes, but so far it hasn't amounted to much.
Well, I'll take that so far
Yeah,
and run with it.
indeed.
Oh, Lee is here. Wonderful. Liz and I worked together years ago, the Department of Agriculture. So it's wonderful to see her here. Welcome, Liz.
Good to be here.
And somebody's coming in on iPhone. We'll probably want them to identify themselves just to make sure. Hello, iPhone. Can you come on camera and identify yourself? Hello, iPhone.
We live in a world where we must identify who's coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Donna Anderson.
Donna,
Oh, great,
hey.
Donna. It's good to have you here. Good to have you here. Excellent.
Okay, so I think George should be coming. I think he's the only one on
Okay.
here yet, and he's
Okay.
later in the read, so I think we should be okay if we get started.
Okay. Well, let's make sure that we take a deep breath, welcome everyone to this gathering of poets from Words on Thirds, which we'll learn a little bit more about as we go, and co-hosted by Poetry X Hunger, which we'll also learn about a little bit more as we go. But to get the mood and the tone and the power of poetry right up front, we wanted to play back a poem that was pre-recorded by Joseph. I think actually he's reading two poems, short poems, by Poetry X Hunger poet Joseph Bana from Nigeria. So if you give me just a second, I'll share screen his video. Let's get going.
Good day. My name is Joseph C. Ogbonna. I am a prolific poet from the West African country of Nigeria. I have two poems about hunger to read. Listen up. The first is Hungry Baby. I have a cute baby sucking his fist. Whilst eating, he turns his head for a nipple. He sucks on and on with a lip smacking. He tries to sob, but he instantly smiles. Instinctively, he turns to strip my chest, but he gets frustrated to feel a flat one. Awakened by pressure, his stomach yearns. More and more alert, more and more active, he repeatedly gnaws his tender fingers. Fusiness sets in as much as petulance. Then he wails with an obliterated grain for breast milk or a feeding bottled cereal. The second one is hungry Nigerian. Oh God, here am I. I am Nigerian and indigent. I am Nigerian and destitute. I have a vacuum in my stomach. I have a future that is bleak and most uncertain. I have no adequate instructive tools of global standards. The morgues around me are pretentiously designed to maintain, restore, and promote my mental, physical, and emotional state. But they always consign me to deaths 6 feet from the flatland. The pathways I see are death traps with holes created for my exit. My empty stomach yearns most of all for its fill. My daily bread is inflated away, leaving a void in a stomach abuzz with the cries of hunger. A void created by none other than my political bigwigs. My usual small-sized unleavened bean cakes, sugar-free millet or corn pudding, and less sweetened beverage for breakfast have all with memories of the good old days gone by. Scarcity prevails as much as it looms large. I could only feel the noises and complaints of my empty stomach. Each passing day, I feel the volcanic eruptions herein with hardly any succor in sight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. That was Joseph Bana from Nigeria. To open up this fundraiser poetry reading that is benefiting the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. Nancy, would you like to explain a little bit about kind of why we're holding the fundraiser and why we're bringing poets to help us raise money? You're muted, Nancy.
Who muted me?
Here you go.
Hi, everybody. I am one of the poets at the Words on the Thirds poetry group that meets once a month at the Arts Lab of South County. And we're often talking about what we can do to support the community, to infuse poetry into other experiences. And we became aware of the fact that World Hunger Day was on October 16th. And so we decided that we wanted to do something using poetry to raise some money to benefit the hungry in our community. And our community is Anne Arundel County. And so we reached out to Hiram and his Poetry X Hunger project and asked if he would be interested in holding this, co-hosting this opportunity for us to reflect on hunger and share our thoughts and our creativity to the end of raising some funds that might feed some of the hungry in the area. So that's what we did.
The poets, the Words on the Third are poets. It's a very active group led by Nancy Murray. They have produced two beautiful collections where they have cooperated with artists at the South County Arts Lab in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, USA, where the Words on Thirds is housed. And those collections are both visually and poetically just amazing. And sales of those collections, a portion of the sales of those collections has gone to Poetry X Hunger. Let me just explain a little bit about how this event's going to roll out, so to speak. We have, I think, between 10 and 12 poets. Many Words on Third are poets. And we also have some poets here live, Poetry X Hunger Poets Live. And as you saw here just a minute ago, we have a couple on pre-recorded video to play back to present their work. So we'll move through those poets, but in between some of them, we'll probably stop, take a little bit of time out. We've got a welcoming message from the folks at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank that we want to play back, so you kind of put a name and a face together with that important organization. Want to describe just a few factoids about the scourge of hunger and how pervasive it is. And then we'll end on hopefully a wonderful upbeat note with a closing poem as we wind down. We're anticipating that the event will take between 60 and 90 minutes, something like that. So with that, I believe you've already described the words on thirds, but I think maybe you're going to introduce our first word on third poet, right?
Sure. Yeah, we have about 25 members in the Words on Thirds group, and they alternate. Our monthly meetings range between 9 and 15 people showing up for the meetings. It's a very lively group. And Sho is one of the poets that has most recently joined us, and we're delighted to have her. She lives in Annapolis. She started writing poetry just about a year ago when she joined Words on the Thirds, and much of her artistic endeavors are in collage and mixed media. So she was a part of the art poetry mix as well. She did a beautiful work of art about kites. And she's enjoying writing every month, and now she'd like to share something of what she wrote for the Hunger Project. Sho, you ready?
Need to unmute.
That's better.
There we go.
Thank you. This first one is called Off Limits. Mom and her now husband lock the cupboard where the food is. My little brother and I come home from school hungry. I pick the lock. We eat, some of it we like. I wonder if he'll yell, or worse, when they see what's gone. Will they lock it when it's empty? She can't drive since the accident. He buys the food, never enough. At least I'm angry instead of sad. They hardly care. No money. We're hungry. We have no place to go. Can't ask for help. Secret might come out. The second one, I'll bet you know the name, what this form is called. I don't know. I'm too new to all this. But it's I was struck by the way the food bank people said hungry neighbors. It talked about neighbors. So I created a poem that goes down here, hungry neighbors. And so each line starts with that sound or word. Okay. It's just called hungry. Hard to bear. Udon, naan, greens, rice, yams, eggs without bacon, iceberg lettuce, haddock, hate it, beans, onions, rumbling stomach, soon quiet. Thank you.
Great.
So that was wonderful, Sho. Thank you for kicking us off with that. Sho mentioned the things that we got from the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. They did send us some blurbs from lots of the food banks in the area, where they just gave us some information or some impressions or some stories that they've witnessed in their work feeding the hungry in the area. And so we sent those blurbs to all of the poets at Words on the Thirds as by way of a prompt or to stir some ideas for writing. So Donna Anderson uses words and drawings to explore her world of fragments and figments. She's an incredibly creative person. She joined Words the very first time she came, She didn't have a poem to bring us, but she had a poem in her mind that she sang to us when she came in, and it was wonderful. We were all very moved by it. Donna, would you like to read your poem now? And you all are welcome to use the reaction buttons as well. If you enjoy
Yes.
the poem, give them a little love that way.
Yes. Yes.
It's easier than snapping, and people can see it and hear it. So, Donna, you there? Do you need to be unmuted? You are on iPhone, is that right?
Yeah.
Let's see it. Do you see it? There she is. I'm gonna unmute mute
Yeah,
you.
she's here.
She's muted, I think. I'm trying to unmute her.
Okay.
Okay, I'm there.
There
There
you
she
go.
is.
Hi,
Yeah.
Donna.
Did it. Okay. Thank you.
You want to share your camera, or is the phone?
Camera'd be okay.
I think, let's see.
There she comes, I think. No, maybe.
Your video going?
There
There she
she
is. I
is.
see you
Ah,
now.
is that me?
Hey.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, good job.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, my poem for the pantry. On TV, you see what to eat. There's no food scarcity. It's right there in front of me. Open the fridge door, see the lone light. Dinner is what we didn't eat last night. Was there anything left? You drive past signs for endless buffets and plot how to make it the next few days. Supermarket lights late at night. Squeaky cart leads the way. A can of this, a bag of that. Where's that stuff I feed the cat? Kids at home hope for fun. Mom has her list. That's number one, though it doesn't seem like that. The aisles, the boxes, the cash star machine, the nickels, the quarters. It's like a bad dream. After you pay the rent and utilities, you're left with relentless expense and futility. Struggling to put food on the shelf, food in my family, food in myself. Community platitudes, ignorant attitudes, invisible to my coworkers and neighbors. We all need to eat. Save me a seat at the table.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Very nice, Donna.
Those two poems, or those poems by the two poets, are just a wonderful sample of the power of poetry to speak up and speak back, speak up about hunger, speak back to it, help us appreciate the amazing wickedness of hunger. So I'm Hiram Larew. I founded Poetry X Hunger a few years back as a way of bringing poets to the anti-hunger cause, and I'll say something about that here in just a second. But first, I wanted to provide just a little bit of context. Actually, first, I wanted to post a pretty important link in the chat. Our goal for this fundraiser is to raise about 2,000 US dollars. We're well on our way, but we still have a ways to go in raising that fund. And all of those funds are going directly to the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. It's a local area food bank in our county that is serving, as you'll hear in a video that we're going to play back here in a few minutes, serving a pretty broad community here in our county. So that's the first thing. First, we'll probably be posting that donation link throughout the reading. But I also wanted to give just a little bit of a context backdrop, some data, some trend lines, some statistics, if you will. Here are some numbers about hunger. Rates of hunger are increasing around the world, around our country, around your state, our state, and our towns and villages and communities. You know the reasons for that increase as well as I do. Everything from climate change to conflict to outbreak of pests and diseases to politics to soil degradation, you name it, all sorts of causes are contributing to that rise in hunger. The result is that while we had been making some progress in fighting hunger and lowering the rates of it in recent years, the outbreak of COVID and other recent upheavals have caused the trends to start back up again. Hunger is on the rise everywhere, close and far. Around the world, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 2025, this year, estimates that 650 million people around the world are either facing hunger, are hungry, or are starving. In the US, the country that many of us belong to and live in 2023, which is the most recent year we have good solid data from, 2023, over 47 million Americans went to bed most nights worried that there wouldn't be enough food to feed their family the next day. 7.2 million children in the United States in 2023 ate less than they needed to or wanted to, and went an entire day without eating or could not afford a balanced meal. In the state that many of us are zooming in from, Maryland, which is just outside of the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C., the Maryland Food Bank estimates that 1/3 of Marylanders are hungry or at risk of becoming hungry. And we'll hear a little bit more about the county in which many of us live, Anne Arundel County, when we play back the video from the county's food bank. Recent estimates indicate that about 11% of households in Anne Arundel County, which is considered a very well-to-do county in the U.S., about 11% of households are facing hunger. And lastly, a survey by a group called Swipe Out Hunger indicates that 95% of campuses, college campuses in the U.S. have food pantries. So those are just a few statistics. Certainly, data like that are important to understand what we're facing. They are important tools to use from our toolkit. I believe that poetry is also a powerful tool that needs to be fully in our toolkit. By publishing poems from around the world that are about some aspect of hunger, everything from food waste to farming, to nutrition, to famine, starvation, and the like, Poetry X Hunger is showcasing the power of poetry to outrage and inspire, as a recent author about hunger recently put it, outrage and inspire public in the fight against hunger. In other words, we believe at Poetry X Hunger that poems can grab hearts. Trendline and data grab the kind of logic, if you will, the awareness that we need to have about the problem of hunger. Poems can grab the heart and the minds and wallets and purses like nothing else can, I believe. In fact, over the last couple of years, Poetry X Hunger poets have raised about $20,000 and donated it all to anti-hunger organizations by using their poems to raise those funds. And they've also raised awareness about the problem, the scourge, I call it, of hunger and its devastating impacts. One case in point, Poetry X Hunger poem titled Enough by Canadian poet Josephine Larew was recently used by a Feed the Children, a huge anti-hunger group, in a 1-minute public service announcement that at last count has been viewed by about 190,000 YouTube viewers. But okay, sure. We all realize that initiatives like Poetry X Hunger and bringing the words on third group to bear on this, we won't ever probably end the problem of hunger. But damn it, and excuse my French, damn it, I think poetry can help. Said a little bit differently, we're using poetry to raise a ruckus about the tragedy of hunger. And we're turning some remarkable poetry, some of which you'll hear today, already have heard some. We're turning that remarkable poetry into food. So, with that, I think our next reader, I don't believe she's arrived. So, maybe, Nancy, if you wouldn't mind, you could introduce the food bank and I will cue up their video. Give me
Sure.
just a second.
The Anne Arundel County Food Bank, the person that we've been speaking with is Amanda Fields, and she is the events and volunteer organizer for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. And she has prepared a video for us to explain how important it is to our community, despite the fact that our community in Anne Arundel County, it appears to be a very wealthy community. But underneath and hidden within that community are a lot of people struggling. You ready? Here she is.
Yeah, here she comes. This is Amanda Fields, as Nancy says.
Thank you so much for hosting this fundraiser to support Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I'm Amanda, the events and volunteer manager here, and your donations directly support our mission to alleviate food insecurity in Anne Arundel County by partnering across our community to obtain and distribute nourishing food to our neighbors in need. Though Anne Arundel County is one of the wealthiest in the entire United States, roughly 10% of the residents still face food insecurity. What does that mean? It means that over 66,000 of our neighbors struggle to afford food. But the money that you collect makes a huge difference. With a dedicated team of just 20 staff, we help feed over 40,000 people each month, and we couldn't do it without your support. Thank you for being part of this effort.
My guess is that any one of your counties where you're living probably has a food bank, and the people in that food bank could make virtually the same sort of presentation about hunger in your county, community, or region.
Hiram, may I ask a question? Sorry to
Sure.
interrupt.
Sure.
There was a question in the chat about being able to see the video. We weren't able to see it. I wonder, is it all right if I put it in the link? The link
Sure.
in the thing. So
Sure, and
Lori,
I'm
I'm going to
sorry.
go ahead and pop that into the link. Anyone who wants to look at that again can take a peek in there. Okay.
And I apologize. I didn't realize. Hopefully that won't be a problem with the other playbacks that we have.
So the next thing that we were going to do was we were going to bring in another one of the words on the thirds readers. Did I interrupt you, Hiram, or were you?
Oh, no.
Okay, okay. So the next reader for the words on the thirds is Jennifer Barber. She's a mother of four and a preschool teacher and a local poet. She says she's discovered more about herself and in relationship to the world through her writing than she ever actually wanted to. So she really brought a lot to Words on the Thirds. Took a little hiatus, but she's back with us now, isn't she, Jen? Okay, so she's going to read her poem for us. Go ahead, Jen.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here. When I heard about this collaboration, I wasn't really sure what to write, but I'd been watching a show called The Maid on Netflix, and that it was about a mother trying to raise a daughter and not having what she needed to do that. So that inspired this poem, and it's called Baby Bird. Hush, little one, curl under my wing, your little beak snapping for food I can't bring. Belly swelled empty, eyes full of fear, don't know how you'll last, on nothing in tears. Flew off for a while to end our dark plight. Lines, forms, and politics, no sustenance in sight. I hear your pained crying, I see you grow weak. Wish love made soft food to pump into your cheeks. Your wings lost their luster, legs wobbling and thin, cry softly fading when once a shrill din. Shrinking while growing, you need more than light, no nourishment, no strength. You may never take flight. You passed in the night, so frail to the bone. Wish someone had heard us as we suffered alone. They promised security to end the vast debt, death by starvation, a life they don't get. Others show up now, friends from the fray. They lift you up gently, hold me as I sway. Words bring no comfort in the face of this pain. Wish our story made headlines instead of lives lived in vain.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jen. It was beautiful. Good to see you again. Our next poet is also from the Words on the Thirds poetry group, and her name is Katrina Evans. She is an art therapist and a death doula. I don't know if she's ready for me to say that, but she's also the mother of three amazing human beings. And she too is an amazing human being. She's one of the original members of Words on the Thirds, and she's a terrific person. So Katrina, if you're ready.
I am ready.
Okay.
Thank you. And this was, just thinking about, well, our world in general. No one should go hungry. Pantry's empty, fridge too, pocket change used last week. No more lunches served at school, no more fuel to feed the cells. I'll never get out of this hell. Who are they to point and sneer, thinking it's something wrong with me? Who are they that cannot hear the gnawing in my belly? Who are they who will not see they close their eyes, I disappear? When our children cannot eat, when our people will not see how starvation lives right here in this land of plenty, we are doomed if we will not lay down our hatred and instead learn to love once more and share until there's no more hunger.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Let me thank you both, Jen and Katrina. Let me share the donation.
I'm doing it now.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to introduce a Poetry Ex-Hunger poet, Chip Williford, who's here with us and can read live for us a poem or two about hunger. Chip is a director and co-host of Poetry Street, and he is a prose poetry and short story writer, published in several publications. He's a passionate equal rights advocate and activist for peace and human rights, filmmaker, a documentarian, a family historian, and good listener, and reliable storyteller. And as I was mentioning to some of you who came on just a bit early, he's also the newly appointed Poet Laureate of Suffolk County, New York, on Long Island here in the U.S. So, Chip, the mic is yours.
Once again, Hiram, thank you so much for putting this fundraiser together for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. And I'm so happy to be here with so many other wonderful poets, especially the co-host of Poetry Street, Maggie Bloomfield, who's also on this call. And Poetry Street is the last Saturday of every month at the Riverhead Public Library and on Zoom. And you can join us at poetrystreetontheroad.com. The first poem that I would like to read is it was entitled Salty Growls, and it was on the Poetry Ex Hunger website, August 1st, 2023. A full plate of hunger pains fills my belly. Salty growl, snapping fast, eats all desire placed before me, lacking substance, an outdated menu, nourishing depression, leaving nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip.
You're welcome. Left blank. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. This next poem is entitled Left Blank, and it was submitted December 1st, 2024. Empty place lines the table, no crumbs to gather, neither None or not enough for everyone doesn't seem right. Seemingly out of nowhere appeared Mom from out of sight, filling a small spoon or sprinkle of crumbs we'll share and sleep well tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chip.
You're welcome.
And Chip,
And
you're gonna have to help remind me. Chip was kind enough, generous enough here a few months back to share his poem on a platform that then was made available to anyone who wanted to purchase him reading the poem with musical background. And I just think it's a wonderful concept. He donated all the proceeds from the sale of his poem and that music to Poetry Ex Hunger. So we're grateful to you for doing that and for being the trailblazer, finding a way to do that as well, Chip.
right, I just want to point out the website. It's called fuwimu.com. It's short for Fun with Music, and we took the first two letters of each word, FUWIMU.com. And the poem is entitled TikTok, and you can find it there.
You can pop it in the link if you'd like.
Yeah, if you could pop the
Pop the
website
link in the chat.
Absolutely.
that would be great.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to
Thank
hearing all your poems.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank you. So George Miller is the next reader. He is the original, the very first to sign up for the Words on the Thirds. He's been with us the whole 2.5 years that we've been going. He's been bringing humor, deep thinking, and a wonderful sense of community to our group. We're thrilled to have him. George, you ready to go? We need to unmute you.
You're muted, George. Yeah, there he is.
Okay.
Hey, George. Yep.
Yes, and your camera, you want to put your camera on?
It's on.
It is
He's
on.
right
Okay,
there.
gotcha,
Have the
gotcha.
camera on.
Sorry. There you are.
Is this my best side?
Yes.
or
Oh,
is
yeah.
this
That's the
the
one.
It's your best side,
Oh,
George.
yeah.
Okay. The Guerrilla Girls is a collective of female artists who came together in the 1980s to condemn the bias that women and people of color faced in the art world. One of their posters provided the direction I needed for my hunger poem. The poster's message is clear. Question: what's the difference between a POW and a homeless person? Answer: under the Geneva Convention, a prisoner of war is entitled to food, shelter, and medical care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My poem is a food sharing shelf in the corner of a public library. Mine is a simple mission, noble and foolproof. I take my post in the lobby of the library. My sturdy shelves serve the underserved. A small food bank for my corner of the town. A conduit between haves and have-nots. When my shelves are bare, I have nothing to give. When they are full, I share my all. I never leave my post. I sit below a poster of a homeless man to remind the hundreds who pass me daily, all are entitled to food. Though I am mute, my poster speaks for me. Who speaks for you? Geneva Convention, Article 11, 1929, food must be of a similar quality and quantity to that of the belligerent's own soldiers. POWs cannot be denied food as a punishment.
Well done.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Thank
job,
you,
George.
Yeah, thank you,
As
George.
usual.
Yeah, I had not realized that, never even thought about the distinction between homelessness and POW. Well, it's my pleasure at this point to introduce co-host of this event, Nancy Murray. Nancy's a powerhouse. That's the only way you can say it. She's a a poet, a memoirist, a visual artist, a mom, a grandmom, a professor of creative writing, and as she says in her bio, not always in that order, priority. She just does everything, and most importantly, she's just got an amazing spirit, creative as well as caring spirit that she brings into any circle that she joins. She, as we've said all along, she's directs the Word on Thirds group at the South County Arts Lab, and she's going to be recognized here this week as a literary arts leader in Anne Arundel County. So finally, the county has recognized her leadership capabilities, her groundbreaking capabilities. So, Nancy, we'll turn the mic over to you for your poem.
Thank you. I think it's a good thing I don't have to walk into a room for this because you just made my head so big. So I'm going to start, instead of reading a poem of my own, I want to read a poem from one of our dear members, Bert Eiffel. He's just so great, and he was going to try to join us, but he's in the process of moving today, so it wasn't something he could do. But he did take the time to write a poem to support the cause of raising money for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. So here's his. It's called The Gnawing. I hope I'll do it justice. It wakes her even before the rising sun, sets the walls of her makeshift tent aglow. It is the familiar, dull ache spreading from her viscera to her cramped limbs. She would surrender to the pangs curled up tightly on her palate, but she hears her children's faint moans, "Mama, mama, mama," and it resolves her. She gives each a feeble pat on the cheek and searches the tent for the last handful of sorghum that she can make into an improvised porridge, barely adequate for two. It must serve three. Just outside, she hears a rumor sluicing through the camp like a flash flood. There may be an aid drop just 5 kilometers away. If they hurry, the women might reach it before the frantic young men with their AKs chase them away. The women form a silent procession. She joins them, leaving the camp with only her 2 most precious possessions, her children and her hunger. She remembers a different time, a different place, a small house, cool in the summer, warm in the winter, a smiling husband who would bury his nose in her fragrant hair when he came home from work. 2 children, sleek and frisky as sealed cubs, banging through the pantry in search of dates and pistachios. The friends, the gossiping old women, the occasional crack of gunfire or thud of a distant explosion, as unconcerning as the plangent report of a far-off storm. The storm came ever nearer, then broke over their heads. Everything was destroyed except memories that even now are consumed by the unslakable gnawing. The women reach the rumored spot. Nothing is there except another disappointed group of women. A wail floats up and is joined by a growing, desperate chorus. It is the chant of want, the descant of pang, the threnody of gnawing. Isn't he great?
Bert Eiffel, yes.
Bert
Wonderful.
Eiffel, yeah, he's wonderful. And now I'll do a real quick short one of mine. This is called Hunger. I wake with it without love. I walk with it without strength. I listen as it drums on the hollow of my belly, and I wonder why others don't hear. I am lightheaded and heavy-hearted when I sleep. I dream of eating the way others dream of glory in lustful, vivid colors. I am full. I am happy. I am fed until morning breaks and I wake with it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks for all you do to raise awareness and creativity in the nearby community here and well beyond. So it's my pleasure now to introduce Patty Ross. Patty is also known as Little Pie. She's an orator, a poet, poor people's advocate, and a feminist warrior. Her debut collection, St. Paul Street Publications, was released in August of 2021 by Yellow Arrow Publishing. And we're very proud of the fact that Patty served as a Poetry Ex Hunger poet in residence a couple of years ago at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I think she's probably already posted, but maybe can post again after she finishes reading her website. So, Patty Ross, you've got the mic.
Thank you so much, Hiram. And, I always enjoy these type of events because I get to hear everyone else's just beautiful words and poems. And so this is always so uplifting. The first poem I'm going to read is, it's called What If? There is a previous version from 2023 on the Anne Arundel County Food Bank's website, but this is a revised version of that particular poem. What if? What if we were the village that nurtures every baby? What if we had to ensure each one was washed, held, and fed? What if we had to change the baby, hunt for diapers, search for formula in empty aisles? What if we had to scavenge for baby clothes through piles? What if we had to keep every child alive, leaving not one child behind? Imagine if every child had their own bed, a pillow to rest their head, no famine, no child dead. What if? What if we did unto others what we do for ourselves? What if we stocked everyone's shelves? What if we truly loved our neighbors, filling their wells, making sure they are well? Can you imagine that everyone thrives and we eradicate socioeconomic divides? What if?
Mm-hmm. I can remember when Patty read that poem at a reception that the Anne Arundel County Food Bank had, again, a couple of years ago. And everyone was, munching on goodies and hobnobbing with each other and networking, all that good stuff. And when Patty got up to read that poem, the entire group went silent, turned to her, and all ears were focused on her poem. So thank you, Patty, for being here and for serving in that capacity and for continuing to wave the flag of poetry for all sorts of important social causes, including hunger.
Thank you.
So if there's hope we can look towards, it certainly is in our young people, our young poets. Poetry Ex Hunger has just been incredibly fortunate here of late to cooperate with a gentleman named Arianzi Clinton from Uganda. Arianzi is the founder of a group called AAT, Agri-Food Initiative, just outside of the capital of Uganda, Kampala. And he's working to transform school meals to support young people in food and agribusiness and in fostering job creation as well amongst those young people. Most importantly, as far as I'm concerned, he has worked to form Poetry Ex Hunger clubs in high schools there in Uganda. And as word gets out and as word is spreading, more and more schools are taking an interest in having Poetry Ex Hunger Club at their school. So we're going to play back a video by one of the students. His name is Maxwell, who wrote a poem with help from his teacher about hunger. And I apologize to you if you can't see the video. I think that's a little technical issue that I didn't anticipate. and I'm not going to try to solve it during this session, but you should be able to hear the poem. So hopefully, if your ears can tune in, let me play this back. The poem is titled The Mouth of the World, and Maxwell is performing it, is reading it, presenting it. He's got a beautiful accent. You might need to turn your computer audio up just a titch to hear Maxwell read this poem. Here we go.
Of the world. The world has mouth, it doesn't feed. Wide open, aching with dust. It sings in tongues of bitter needs. Yet bites the hand it dares to trust. It waits where morning does not rise. In homes where pots hang cold and dry. It stares through until hollow eyes watch the bread go walking by. No fire warms a starving soul. No harvest fills a broken land. The belly is a begging bowl, held out of time with trembling hands. But hunger is not fate alone. It is a choice, a wound we sow. The earth is rich, the seed is grown, and still we turn and let it grow.
So that was a poem by Maxwell, who is a student at Eden High School, just outside of Kampala, Uganda. And if you'd like to see more or experience more such poems by the Ugandan high schoolers and other young people, you can visit the Poetry X Hunger website. I'll try to remember to post the website link here.
I already have a couple
Oh,
times.
thank you so much, Nancy. Because we have a special section, as we should, just devoted to young poets' work. There. So, Nancy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, just 1 sec.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to be introducing you to, I think it's our newest member of Words on the Thirds. This is Laura Lidgy. She is a creative voice in our midst. She's a speech and language pathologist in Anne Arundel County, and she has really added to our group beautifully. So I'd love to hear what she is going to share with us today. Laura, I'm gonna see if you are unmuted.
I think I'm good.
Yep, you're good. Okay,
Okay.
great.
Thank you. Sitting in the school parking lot, tears coat my face, make rivers down my chin, waterfall to my chest. A bill I'd forgotten made a large hole in my bank account. The balance wouldn't cover gas to work and back again. How will I feed my children? I still my heaving shoulders, force deep shuddering breaths until their rhythm becomes like the ocean. I wipe my face, remembering what my grandmother often said. You have to do something, even if it's wrong. I stuff the anxiety into an imaginary backpack, straighten my shoulders under its weight, hold my head high, force a smile, and go to work. I will find a way. I will find a way.
Very nice. Beautiful job. Nice. So Hiram, what do you, that was Laura Lidgy, and
yes.
I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to send my hearts out to her to say thank you so much for that beautiful reading, and also take us into the next moment.
Sure.
We have a few things we're gonna. It's right now. It's 4:07, Hiram.
Right.
And so we're. Go ahead.
Well, I was just kind of wondering. It was at this point that Nancy and I discussed that we would kind of make a decision about whether or not we'd like to open the mic up to anyone else who would like to share a poem, a short poem. If there's anyone who would like to, and you could maybe let us know, raise a hand virtually or otherwise.
To raise a
let
hand
us know.
virtually, you go down to the reaction button, and the raising a hand option is available there.
Right. Or just as importantly, if anyone has any thoughts or questions or reactions and would like to come on mic and just give us the benefit of your reactions, your responses, that would be wonderful too, for just a few minutes here before we close out with another final poem. anyone like to say anything?
Well, hello, Hiram. Cathal
Hey,
here.
Tony.
I've enjoyed the evening so far. I could give you a quick little poem of mine. It's just a couple of stanzas, if that's okay. It's
That would be wonderful.
We'd love that.
Let me just
brief.
mention that
Yep.
Tony Trainer is from Ireland, a wonderful poet from Ireland. So your ears are in for a treat just listening to Tony read. Please do go ahead, Tony.
Well, thank you very much, Hiram. Thank you, everybody. I've listened to everybody today, and it's a very important subject. I call this the Great Hunger. We have a particular relationship with two here in Ireland, obviously from the time of the Great Hunger here, and obviously the terrible hunger that's happening, for instance, in Palestine, with the hunger being and famine being used as a weapon. So it was similar in Ireland, but economic rather than military. So here's a quick little poem. It's called The Great Hunger. Hunger stretched out taut intention that rages on a rack of hurt, were breathing in full breaths and gulps of scalding fire that sighs and weighs. Its withering on tightened skin and coiling flame of gnawing need that hangs upon the thickened tongue where words sounded the drowning die. The length of days and lingering hours that sickly slow seep tortured time and measured beats of gulping gasps, of clawing air and searing sips. Despair in black is mourning clad, rouses upon her dreadful watch, embracing in her drowsy deep, hunger crowned in the thorns of pain. Not a very easy subject to talk about, but as I say, it's famine, it's hunger, the lack of food and water, and we have to be so much aware of it. And it's a real sort of shame on us all that we're still talking about it in this 21st century.
Tony,
Back to you, Hiram. Thank you, everybody.
we can't thank you enough for being here and to adding what I call the dimension of time to the gathering. Hunger, as Tony just said, Cathal has just said, has been with us forever. And in the 1840s was a terrible tragedy in Ireland, the Great Famine, potato blight famine that occurred there, was the cause of so much despair and mortality and immigration. It caused so many of the Irish people to try to escape the situation. They went to Australia, the US, and other parts of the world. It's very much still part of the fabric of the Ireland ethos, and we really appreciate you reminding of that.
Thank you,
Tony,
Hiram. Can I just finally say that sometimes what's not considered about hunger is the psyche, it damages the psyche of the nation, of the people that suffer it. And it damages the psyche and the people for hundreds of years afterwards. Even in Ireland today, we have difficulty describing it, just what the effect it has. But we forget sometimes with famine, it leaves its mark generationally, not just even when people are fed. The nation that suffered it still remembers it. It's still ingrained in the psyche, their racial memory.
Absolutely. That huge footprint, shadow that it casts.
Maggie's
Sorry,
hand is up. She'd like to share a poem for us.
Yeah, Maggie Bloomfield is from Long Island, New York, USA.
Hi, everybody. What a wonderful event this is. I'm so happy to be here. This poem is called I Was a Lucky One. My mother cooked naively tuna casseroles, pigs in blankets, meatloaf. Once I moved to the city, I mocked her skill to take a perfectly good roast beef and turn it into a small black rock. My parents worked hard to feed us. They offered love, support, education, and countless meals. I would trade the organic vegetables and cereals I am privileged to eat to spend an hour chewing my mother's Sunday roast. Food was available, plentiful, enough to fill a stomach, healthy enough to grow me.
Maggie, that wonderful memory poem, looking back, and how many of us grew up with a situation where sometimes food wasn't necessarily a given, or we all always kind of took for granted that there would be food. So really appreciate that poem, Maggie, and bringing it into the group today. Is there anyone else? I see Paul
Patrice, it looks
and
like
Patrice. Yeah,
Patrice has her
yeah,
hand
maybe.
up, and then
Okay,
Paul has his.
and then
Yeah.
okay. So Patrice, would you like to come on mic, and then Paul after Patrice, and then
Looks
maybe
like
we can
looks like
kind of
Patty
wind.
also has a hand up. But
Okay, well, no, no, okay. So Patrice, you need to unmute. Patrice
So,
Smith is.
yep, I'm here, but I actually was just giving applause to the poet.
Oh,
Yes, no, I don't have anything that I want to share
okay. Well,
today.
Patrice is a wonderful poet here in the greater Washington, D.C. area,
Thank
both a performance poet and a wonderful poet of text poems as well. So, Paul, did you have a poem you'd like to share?
That's me. Oh, I didn't realize I had my hand up.
Oh, okay.
I was clapping and hearting,
Oh, okay. That's
but
fine.
I gotta say the poems are touching and moving. I really appreciate hearing everybody's words.
Well, thank you, Paul, for helping us turn. Sorry, go ahead, Nancy.
Paul is the president-elect, soon to be president of the Parole Rotary Club. And he is looking for his time as president. He is looking to be engaging in some of the poetry. I mean the hunger, food insecurity issues in the area. So I'm happy that he's here. He's also my husband.
Good to have you here, Paul.
Yeah,
as we begin to kind of wind down here today, I hope that the unspoken message is clear. If you folks in your own communities, in your own villages, in your own townships, have an interest in fighting hunger with poetry, you can do it, just like Nancy and I are doing it here today. Um, this does take a little bit of organizing, but it's relatively easy to do. Another way of saying that is if Nancy and I can do it, I think, well, I shouldn't speak for Nancy, but if I can help with this, anyone can do it. Okay. So please consider the notion of using poetry, turning poetry into food, using it to fight hunger in your own backyard. Nancy, did you have anything before we play the kind of the final poem? Anything you'd like to?
I just wanted to thank everybody for coming. You know, I say it all the time that we all should do what we can, you know, when we can, for who we can. Whether it's poetry, whether it's just showing up, whether it's donating, being engaged in positive action towards resolving problems that we all are sharing as a human family. It's just, I appreciate each one of you so much for being present. That is often the only thing we really need to do, is be present and be aware for these problems to begin to heal. So I'm grateful to you, and I wanted to acknowledge that to each and every one of you.
Absolutely. Also, just a reminder, we are recording this session, meaning that soon afterwards, probably in the next day or two, we'll share the link, which you are more than welcome. In fact, you're encouraged to share with others. And we're not too proud to ask if anyone is able to donate, any of you folks, but and beyond you folks, your friends, your relatives, your pets, anyone who might be willing to and able to donate. If they're able to donate to this cause, we have a goal of raising $2,000 for this food bank. So please help us on that front if you can. But we will be sharing the recording. So to close out, we have a poem. Again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but hopefully you'll be able to hear it by David Deffy. David is a poetry ex-hunger poet. He's an award-winning American poet, a novelist, an essayist, and a multimedia artist. He's the founder of a group called Poetry Orchestra and American Poetry Intersection, as well as a poet in residence for Brownstone Poets in previous years. In 2017, David was exiled from his native country of Georgia, the country of Georgia, and was granted immediate and indefinite political asylum in the US. His wife and 9-year-old son joined him in the US in 2023, and he lives and works in New York City. I have him on recording here, so again, I'm not sure that you'll be able to see David. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear him. You may need to turn your audio up a little bit because he's a fairly soft-spoken poet. So bear with me as I call up his video.
A day of hunger. He was faint with the hunger. I saw him on 2nd Avenue and East Houston Street. That day when I was rushing to meet a friend. The man was sitting right in the street looking at the strangers. All of us hunger for a reason, he spoke. He called me. It's been a long time since I've eaten some food, but I have my word. Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of, well, you know. I've heard his voice from far beyond. I walked closer to him. I gave $1 and turned around, and then he said, "Thank you." But he said strangely, as if he was singing. I felt some softness in his voice. The misuse of language he spoke induced a great evil in us. What? I moved closer, knowing that he was not talking about grammar. It was something else. Maybe I'll die soon, he spoke. Maybe not. But to misuse language is to use it the way the fools do, without taking responsibility for what the words mean. I tried to see that man again after meeting with my friend, but he vanished, as if he never was there. Who was he? What a day it was. It was a day of hunger, swallowed by the bizarre meaning of life. If life can be described by words, then there must be some hope for nourishment either.
David Deffy from New York City, helping us to bring this gathering to a close. Nancy, any last hurrah for the good of the cause?
Hurrah.
Hurrah.
I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon, and remember to be compassionate to everybody you come into contact with. We don't know what they're going through or whether or not their bellies are full. So be gentle with each other.
Thank you. And Nancy, if you'd be willing to stay on for just a minute, that would be great.
Sure.
But everyone else, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy weekend, your relaxing weekend, hopefully, to be here. And we look forward to seeing you in the eSphere. You'll probably get an email from Nancy or I with the recording here in the next couple of days. So thank you, especially to the Words on Third poets and to the Poetry ex-hunger poets for featuring today. Yeah.
Yay.
And And Ed Mikey, who came from California, come in from California. Great to see you, Ed.
And those who came from long, long distances around the world. Thank you. So it's
Absolutely.
middle of the night for you. Go get some sleep
Yes.
now.
Take care, everyone.